Hello everybody, Samuel here. Just a quick note, just a quick one here. It's just as important for us to be able to navigate our day-to-day with a level of resolve, a level of enjoyment, a level of peace, as it is to be doing the things that contribute to the overall vision that we have, the vision that God gave us. The reason being that, and I don't want to call it process, because sometimes we can overdo the process thing, like fall in love with the process. I know, I get it. Don't forget and keep the vision. I get all that. But there are the day-to-day things that still make us who we are. If indeed God is who he says he is and does what he says he does, he provided your context for you, knowing that there's a process, there is a vision, but you're in the here and now. In the here and now, if you cannot navigate that successfully, that is part of the process, but the process could be broken into micro steps. Meaning that there's literally, if you imagine, for instance, in a sport like football, the goal is to get into the end zone, right? There's two teams on the field, and in those two teams, there's offense and defense on both teams. So the offense has to play, the defense has to play, the special teams have to play. So there's a lot of different moving parts and pieces, and that's how life is. If the receivers don't run the right route, if the tight end doesn't block, if the quarterback doesn't receive the ball, there's so many things that have to happen. And part of what we have to learn to navigate is not just that we want to get into the end zone. It's not just that we have to run the right routes or put up the right blocks, or whatever the case may be, throw the right ball. It is simply navigating what it's like to be on the bench and to interact with our teammates, to stay warm if it's a cold weather game, and to stay agile and nimble and stay active and stay mentally locked in. There's so many other things that we as believers need to do on a regular basis. If we don't do that well, it's going to be hard for us to step into the game, execute the play, and do all the things we need to do to continue to advance. Our day-to-day lives oftentimes look a lot more like sitting on the bench because the other team is playing. It looks like the day-to-day things that we do, eating a good breakfast and interacting with your teammates, quote unquote, your coworkers or your spouse or your children. Well, it looks like making sure that you're able to stay warm and stay active and stay nimble. It looks like all those different things. We could be so fixated on the game that we lose all of that. I just want to caution us, because vision is very important. You never lose sight of the vision, but you have to trust God enough to understand, even when you're on the bench staying warm, that's contributing to the vision. Even when you're interacting with your teammates, that's contributing to the vision. I didn't play. I am a huge fan of the only football team that I'm a homer, so Philadelphia Eagles is my team. Last couple of seasons, we've had a particular player who basically wanted to stand out, made everything about him. This offseason, we ended up getting rid of that person. I actually really like this guy. I super like him, and I pray that he succeeds where he's gone. However, the reality is there were times where he would draw attention to himself on the sidelines because of actions that he was doing. He did not know how to manage the sideline. And a lot of times we don't know how to manage the sideline. And the sideline that's our 24 hours. That's our day-to-day. Not the one time during the week that you go and do a thing that is like a highlight. So the things that we experience in God sometimes are highlights, not the sideline. not the day-to-day. And we can confuse them. And then we wonder why we don't have a good, fulfilling, contentment experience in our day-to-day. It's because you're so focused on the weekly highlight, or maybe it's the monthly highlight. Not because they're bad things. They help you move the chains. They help move you along the journey, and may eventually help you get to the end zone, to the vision, or the goal, to the championship, or whatever case may be, but they're not meant to become the pillar of your day-to-day, right? They're there to continue to help you to look forward and to see that you're working towards something. And I'm talking to myself here, better with managing, because the day-to-day, honestly, is, I think, what's most important. Give me word for this. A man named Joseph in the Bible, even David, right? He's another great example of this. David and Joseph both had to learn to manage their day-to-day, so that when they became the thing, when they, in David's case, when he became king, and in Joseph's case, when he became prime minister or governor of Egypt, they had learned how to manage the day-to-day so well. Neither of those things became whatever to them. I'm trying to choose my words carefully, because not to devalue them, not to devalue it, but they didn't become idols to them. They didn't worship that thing. So they were able to navigate it better. So I pray that we too will be able to navigate our day-to-day better, not just our highlights or whatever else comes our way that thrills us and makes us feel good or important. Our value is in our identity in Christ Jesus foremost. That's our value, not in the highlight reels. God bless you.